Well, hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Bunker is back with another one of its notorious episodes. Today we are working on our first update on the heavy guns, heavy armor group build that Joachim and Marcus are hosting. You're gonna find links to those guys on the description below, of course, and you are welcome to jump into this group build if you wish. So without further ado, guys, you know the drill. Grab a seat, crack the mandatory cold one, and let's see what Past George did. So guys, the time has come for me to start our heavy armor, heavy guns group build. You have already seen my choice, and you may have a question what I'm gonna exactly do with it. So before I start this build, here is how my plan goes. I have found some photos online while I was trying to decide how to build it, and I have maybe located one that suits, quote unquote, my interest. The one that I have found, I'm gonna put it over here somewhere in the middle of the screen, and I'm not telling you that I'm gonna accurately depict it, but I am going to create something similar, because I don't want this to be a standalone out of the box build, just another build. So we are opting for that, and we will see how it will came out. Now, without further ado, let's start with the build. Let me grab the instructions and let's start from step number 1. Step number 1 consists of one sub-step, which is this one. Is the sub-assembly of the suspension arm, the suspension system, and then you move on to the lower hole and the attachment of the suspension. So now we're gonna work onto this part, which is, as I've said, the assembly of the suspension system. You will have the Y. We need to make 3 of the Y types and 3 of the Z types. They're almost identical, but this suspension arm is orientated oppositely, in the opposite side, sorry. So I'm gonna assemble just one in front of the camera and the rest of the camera, so I don't bore you guys. So I have already cleaned the parts. They are all located over here. Let me grab them, and we're gonna start the assembly immediately. Now, four pieces for its suspension system, for its suspension part. I think that if we are extra careful with the glue, we're gonna have a moving suspension. So I'm gonna try maintain it movable, and if I make it, I'm gonna try to pose it movable as well. When I say movable, I mean it not in a flat position. I may have gone a bit overboard with the glue there. Anyway, first part, we need to fit this detail part onto the hole that it is located on the suspension arm. And as I've said, I have went overboard with the glue. Then we have this one, this arm that goes over here, like so, and we have this ring type that goes on top. Now, as I've said, we need to be extra careful with the glue application. We're just gonna apply a small amount. And we're gonna top it all off. Sorry guys, I know my fingers are on the way, but I can't do without them. God damn. Why every time off camera parts are easier to attach? Let me grab another one. There we have it. Now we line these two things up. Reapply my glue. And as you can see, we have a slight movement. Let me give you a better look. That's the movement we're gonna have from the suspension arm, and that's our suspension assembly. Now, these are the parts that are labeled as Z on the suspension instructions. I'm gonna need to make another two of those and another two of the parts that are labeled with letter Y, that the arm is gonna look at the opposite direction. So guys, now that we have finished with our suspension assembly, sorry I cannot speak, and it's still movable, everything is dry, we move on to the lower hole. And just to be sure about the suspension, there is 3 pieces of Z, 3 pieces of Y, the opposite as you can see, and of course over here I have cleaned the road wheels and I have just dry fitted them. Simple as pie. There are 6 pieces of Z, 6 pieces of Y, 2-piece assembly. These ones I'm gonna glue off camera. There is no need for you to see them, but there is need for you to see the lower assembly of the lower hull assembly. So I'm gonna start with the easy parts first. We have 6 of these pieces, 3 on it for each side. All the same, all are labeled with the same numbers, so you won't be able to mix them, and they go like this. These 2 square indentations should go to the bottom of the vehicle, so it's 1, 2, 3 on this side. Let me apply some glue. And let me make sure that these are straight, and we move on to the 3 of the other side. 1, 2, 3 again. Okay, now we have two armor panels. I'm gonna call them armor panels. They are, if I am not mistaken, they are the idler wheels hub. From the interior side they have these indentations, and they are for you should attach them over here. Let me see. Yeah, let me fail to attach them like so. One on this side and one on the other. And you also need to slide in the rear armor plate. The rear armor plate's panel is angled, so you can have better fitment with no gaps. And of course, while everything is, I'm gonna do this while everything hasn't settled yet, because I wanna make sure that the fit will be correct. And of course this is gonna cause me some trouble to get it in position, but it is what it is, guys. You have to cause yourself some trouble. Let me reposition it, get it closer to my eyes. And let me use extra thin for this one. Now you must think I am crazy that because I'm doing it while I have parts that are not dry, you know, that are not in place yet, but believe me, that's one of the best ways to do it, so you can fiddle with everything's position and position them correctly. It is a little bit of a hassle, you have to be careful, but on the other hand you will have the best possible outcome. That's what I believe. I'm sure that there are other ways to have the best possible outcome, but for me now that's the way for the time being. Okay, and we have this ready. Focus for me. And finally, for this step, we have the sprocket hubs, which are these pieces, these weirdly shaped pieces that go like this, over here. Extra thin to tuck them in place, and then contacta to strengthen the bond even more. So now this is our lower hull, almost ready to attach the suspension system assembly. I'm gonna leave it to dry completely, let the glue set, and then we're gonna be back for the suspension system attachment, as I've said. So guys, the lower hull is of course cured, and now we can proceed on to our suspension attachment. I have already done one side of camera, as you can see, and it consists from two different of course suspension sub-assemblies. This one over here at the left is the Y variant, and these two are the Z. One other thing I wanted to talk about is that you can make them movable. You can. Instructions state that you can make them movable, but they state with the use of a hot iron. I'm not gonna do that, and I opted to, over here on the insides, to glue the rings, the rings that keep the suspension in place, to glue them. With careful glue application, I believe that I'm gonna have a success. So I'm gonna do the other side on camera, of course. So we're gonna turn the vehicle this way. And for the two front mounts, I should say, we are gonna attach the Y variants. So it's one over here and one over here, and at the end the remaining Z1. So they are two arms that look backwards onto the vehicle, and one of them is facing forward. Now, hope you have a good view. Now we have to attach three rings, if I can catch them with my tweezers. One over here, the other one over here, and the last one will be the last one, of course, will fight me to the death. Oh, come on. And the last one over here. So now I'm gonna apply glue only to the edge, or at least I'm gonna try to apply glue only to the edge, and then let it cure for a moment. And that's what you're supposed to be looking at. I'm gonna leave it here once again, let the suspension system cure, and I'm gonna be back. Of course, now we move on to step number 2 of the instructions. Let's move this aside. And step number 2 states that you have to attach the road wheels. Of course, and I'm gonna leave the road wheels up until the very end. I'm gonna leave them for later, because that's the way I roll with road wheels. I usually paint the lower hull first and then attach them. So we're gonna skip the road wheels for the time being. We're gonna assemble the sprocket and the idler, skip their application as well, and we're gonna move on to a couple of other stuff. So most of step number 2 is gonna be skipped. So guys, the time has come for us to assemble the sprocket and the idler wheel, and leave them aside, because there is one implication that I'm gonna try to explain you after I assemble the wheels, of course. Now let's start with the sprocket first. So the sprocket consists from 3 pieces, this one and these two. You have to turn him around, grab this piece with the, let me see if I can focus. Yes, you see that markings over here, you know, I'm gonna call them markings. You see the shapes, how it is. This one has to look at the front of the sprocket, so we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna turn the sprocket around and push it. So these semicircular pieces over here have to reach the gap. I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean, because I cannot explain it well. Pushing it from all the sides, so this is gonna need to look like this in order for you to attach it properly. And then after you have fitted the part in place, you just grab the other part of the sprocket. There is a square indentation, there is a guide hole, and you're ready to go. And this is how it looks. So we have two, one that I made off camera and one that I made just in front of you guys. I'm gonna leave them aside. This was the sprocket assembly. Now let's go to the other one, which is the idler. Same principle over here, 3 parts. These spokes have to go in middle of the other 4 spokes. So you turn it around and you push the thing when you have it in position. Well, I don't have it exactly in position, but I'm gonna fix this right now. Yep, I think that's good enough. And our final part. Once again, it is keyed, so it will be able for you will be able to position it correctly. And these are the 2 idler wheels, so I'm gonna leave those 2 aside. And now for something unusual. I changed my mind and I'm gonna attach the sprocket and the idler wheels, because I realized that if I close the lid on the lower hole, then I won't be able to have access in here in the tab, which is crucial for us to attach sprockets and idlers. I have already attached this side, and as you can see we have movement, and now I am going to attach the other side in front of the camera. So first things first, you need to grab this piece. This is 16A. Of course, you need to grab your glue and apply it over here. just a small amount. You press fit that in place, and then you grab your idler, which in this case looks like a sprocket, but anyway, it is what it is. Then you grab the small securing ring that we have used onto the suspension system as well. Once again, the instructions are stating that we need to burn the excess plastic over here at the back to secure the ring in place, but I'm not willing to do that. I'm not the guy that plays with fire and plastic objects. If I can avoid it, I will. And now we have to grab this part that will need to go here, and it will go like a sandwich. You're gonna see what I mean. Let me grab my tweezers and there. That's what I meant when I said sandwich. It's gonna go in between the idler's teeth. Now I'm gonna leave everything to dry. I'm gonna maintain the idler movable. Time for the real sprocket wheel, and the assembly is almost identical, so I won't bore you much, guys. I'm gonna start almost immediately with it. Not that I don't bore you anyways, but you know. First part, then idler, then just a bit of glue, just a tiny bit, the securing ring, and then the part that probably cleans off the mud from the sprocket, which goes here, and this one is a different one. I mean, a different from the rear one. And of course I hit the camera, sorry guys. And we have it in position. And there we have it. If my mobile wants to focus, yep, that's one side, and that's of course the other side that I did off camera. And now we can move onto the upper hole freely. I mean with no issues. So guys, I moved forward a bit off camera, and when I say a bit, I just glued one piece, and this one piece is the upper to the lower hole, and I done that because it was not fitting quite as well as I wished. I needed to glue it once again in stages, started from the front and moved on to the back. Simple as that. Now the fitment is spot on. I used to have a small gap over here at the front, but now it is non-existent, and as you can see, we have everything correctly fitted in place. Now instructions state that I should fit the fenders right now together with the side panels and the mesh parts over here on top. What I'm gonna do, I'm only going to fit the mesh panels on top, and I'm gonna explain you why I'm leaving these out. I'm not fitting these onto in front of the camera. Let me do that first, and then give you an explanation for my choice. So panels are labeled with different numbers, so keep an eye out for that. Don't mix them. I don't know what will happen if you mix them, but since they are labeled with different numbers, they should have a good Italeri should have a good explanation for it. I'm gonna believe them and keep them separate. That's why I keep them separate. So first one is supposed to go here. Oh, that will help me later. And the second one is supposed to go there, of course. And looks like I've made the right choice not to install the side armor plates before the panels. So now that we have these two in place, I'm gonna leave this aside and talk to you about the side armor plates. As you can see, it's not a flat piece from the inside, of course, and because of that I have some issues. It is a little bit warped, so I will need to glue this one as well in stages on top of it, on top of the upper hole. So I'm not gonna do that in front of camera because I don't wanna bore you guys. I'm gonna give you just an idea of how it goes together. It should go here and hug the upper hole, but as you can see we have some gaps. It is a little bit yeah, it needs a little bit of TLC, and of course I'm gonna do that off camera so I don't bore you. I know I repeat myself a lot. Lucky me, I have the side armor panels in place with minimum effort. Here is one side, and of course here is the other, and here is the look from the tops. And I think we have a success. Now we move on with our work onto the upper hole, and we have to attach one more panel, which is the front one, this one over here, together of course with the coaxial machine gun, another moving part. Now the coaxial machine gun needs to sandwich in between the front armor panel and the upper hole, so I'm gonna need to be careful to show I can maintain its movability, if I can use a word like this. I'm going to apply a small dab of glue only onto the corners. I'm then gonna feed the coaxial machine gun on the front armor plate, and then while I'm holding it, I'm sorry guys, while I'm holding it, I'm gonna attach the panel in place and keep it there for a moment. Yep. And I'm going to keep it there for a moment. And there we have it. It is still movable up and downwards. That's the only motion it can do. And now we need to work, and this now we need to work sorry, this completes step number 5 of the instructions apart the side fenders, which I'm gonna leave off, mainly because I will need to attach the tracks first. Now let me grab the instructions and show you. Now we should move on to step number 6. Step number 6 is a bunch of accessories, so I'm gonna skip it entirely because I will paint them, of course, separately from the tank. So we move on to step number 7. Oh no, step number 6 is continues over here in the back. So step number 6, as I've said, is a bunch of accessories. So I will attach only the grab handles over here at the back and the antenna, and then we are going to move to step number 7, which is of course the turret. Probably you won't be able to see everything, but I have most of the turret laid out on my bench, and this is probably going to be the final assembly for this part of the video. I think that I have enough footage, so this should be it. Anyway, let's start. Off camera, as I have said, I have attached these 4 grab handles onto the upper hole and of course the antenna. So I'm gonna leave this aside for the time being, and the other thing I have done off camera was to somewhat clean the gun barrel. So this one, I'm gonna leave this one aside as well. Now, according to the instructions, we have to grab the gun manlet, glue this piece on it, which is part of the barrel. It is keyed, but we also have to do some fine tuning on it just to help it to be on the right angle. Now I'm gonna leave this aside for a moment. We have the bridge mechanism, which is always great, if you ask me, to have a bridge mechanism. Maybe we can open some hatches with the bridge existing. All armor kits, by my opinion, should have a bridge. I'm not talking about a full interior, but the bridge. It is always helpful to have the hatches of the turret open. Maybe you need to add some figures, or add nothing, leave the hatch open and add some figures all around the tank, loading it with ammo, just in case anyone looks from this takes a look inside those hatches, at least he sees the bridge mechanism. And that's it. And now we are going to attach our bridge over here like this. Let me apply some glue to help it stay in place. And now we grab our bridge and our 2 turret halves and try to make this jigsaw puzzle in one piece. There we have it. I think. And for the end, I am going to attach the turret lid as well. Ooh. Believe me guys, it is far easier than it looks. I'm just doing things on a hurry because of the video. And we have our turret assembly ready. Now I'm gonna hold this one off camera. I'm gonna keep holding this one until it dries. So guys, we have the turret in place, as you can already see. Gun elevation is movable, so I have made it, I have managed to keep it movable. I was a little bit scared with the glue application here and there. And this should be the end for this update. With all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this part. Now, on to the next part. I have some more plans for before finishing the main assembly. I am planning to enhance the welds in detail all over the place, because it looks like scratches here and there, mainly. And I'm talking about mainly the big welds, the welds on the big panels at least, and not the small ones that are located over here. I'm gonna give them a try, but I am mainly concerned about these ones, the ones that are around the turret and over here, and the ones that are located in the front of the hull. But this is a thought. I'm not sure that I'm gonna do that. So on to our next episode, we're gonna proceed a little bit with the main assembly, put everything, almost everything together apart the accessories and the Pioneer tools and stuff like that. But we can never be sure until I reach them, until the next episode comes. You know me guys, I am a bit unpredictable. Anyway, with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this video. I hope that you guys found it helpful and interesting, and stick along for the next one, of course. Before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you that watched this video. A special thank you to my old and new subscribers. Guys, we are close to 1000. We have break 900 subs, and I'm really thankful. I cannot express my feelings properly, to be honest. Anyway, you all guys are the best, and you are the reason I keep doing these videos. For the newcomers out there, welcome. I hope that you like what I do, and if so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Daemon, signing out.